Work is hard. It's a fact of life, but generally, if we like what we're doing, we can get through our work without having to expend too much willpower. But what about when we don't like what we're doing? What do we do when we just can't bring ourselves to finish the task at hand? Today, that's the question we're answering. I'm going to be giving you 3 proven tips for motivating yourself to do things that you just plain don't want to do. So first off, we have a tried and true tactic called gamification. It's really simple. The idea behind it is that if you give yourself small rewards for doing things that you otherwise wouldn't want to do, you can actually train your brain to want to do those things. It sounds super simple, but it's actually very, very powerful. Now, these rewards can be tangible things like an M&M for finishing a paragraph of your essay, or they can be completely meaningless things that your brain simply attaches importance to. And this is how gamification is really similar to actual games. So just like a game, your gamified reward is probably going to be something that is completely meaningless, but you attach importance to, similar to how you might attach importance to a level or unlock in a game like Overwatch. Now, if you think gamification is for you, I highly suggest you take a look at Habitica. It's a free gamified habit tracker that turns your IRL tasks into virtual quests that you must complete to level up your personal game character. It's supported for iOS, Android, Mac, and Windows, and is probably the most fully featured gamification tool I've seen to date. Now, gamification is great, but what do you do if it's just not cutting it? Then you have to step things up a notch. You move into the lockdown zone. This is when you basically compile a list of everything that's distracting you, like Facebook or Twitter, or really any site that you go to when you should be working, and then you press block. There's a bunch of services that can do this, but the idea behind all of them is that they remove the distraction from you. If you can't go to Facebook, then Facebook just can't distract you. I'll be the first to admit that using a lockdown strategy is a rather extreme way to go if you just want to get some basic work done. But if you do want to give it a try, and I suggest you at least give it a try, then I have 2 app suggestions for you. If you're on Mac, then take a look at Focus. It's a super clean UI program that gets everything done that you would need to do to get started with this sort of strategy. But if you're on Windows, I have a completely opposite kind of program for you. It's called Cold Turkey, and it has a horrible UI, but the program features and firewall on it are insanely good. Like, you can't get around it. If you restart your computer, you're not going to get back on. There's just no way to get around this program, and I think that's something that's really good. If you can get a program that is so well designed that you just don't have a way to circumvent it, then you're going to be forced to do your work because you really just can't get to those distractions that might otherwise be drawing you away from your work. Alright, so to finish things off, I have a slightly different tactic that you can take. Punishment. I know it sounds horrible, but it's actually not a bad strategy because the fear of punishment is actually a really good motivator. Punishment itself is very bad for training people, but if you can make people fear the punishment that may come towards them if they don't do their work, then you can actually use it very effectively. Now, you don't have to be like some people who have actually gone out and hired people off of Craigslist for $8 an hour to slap them when they go on Facebook, but if you want to get started with maybe a less crazy, less expensive version of that, you can use an app called Beeminder that's going to charge you money when you fall behind on your work schedule. It's really good for keeping up to date on things that you have to stay on top of, and it's something that I would definitely suggest you look into. Also, you don't have to actually spend money, although if you really want to make this punishment thing an imposing threat that you don't want to have happen to you, then I highly suggest that you put in, a little bit like $5 when you fall behind or something like that. Alright, so those are my top 3 tried and true ways to motivate yourself to do things that you otherwise wouldn't want to do. But I do have to say this, if you cheat, these will not work. This is a basic fact about your brain, that it lives in its own reality, and maybe that reality isn't actually how the real world works. For instance, if you make it so that the only way that you can get a reward in a game like Habitica is if you actually do the task and check off that box, then you're going to train yourself to do tasks that you otherwise wouldn't want to do. But if you, even once, decide that you can check a box off that you didn't actually work to finish, then you change the reality that your brain lives in, and instead of having one path to get that reward, it suddenly has 2. The first is to do the work and check that box off, and the second is to just cheat and not do the work and check that box off and get the reward. And when you do that, you completely change the reality that your brain lives in, and you break the system that you're building to try and stop yourself from being a slacker and all of those bad things. So, as hard as it may sound, if you were about to be punished for doing something, let it happen. It sounds bad, but you should not take your money out of Beeminder when you're about to have money charged to you because you didn't get your work done, and you shouldn't check off something in Habitica that you didn't do. If you don't cheat, these will work, but if you do, these will 100% not work. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, please do subscribe, and if you have some feedback for me, also comment. Oh, and if you just think that I look like that guy from Prison Break, you can comment that too. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. See ya.